Hi, it's Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles, and we're getting a bit back to the roots of this channel. I started this channel to be creative, and over the last couple years started getting more into hauls and showing stuff I bought, and I really want to move back to what I started this channel for. This was a gift from a friend of mine, and I thought it was so cute. It's a vintage piece, and I thought we'd recreate this today. I had another friend that did this type of garland, and I've never done it. So I thought it'd be a fun piece to recreate, and this is a different type of tree than I've ever done. The tree I've done in a previous video was this one, and I think I've done it in a couple different colors. And you can see the cutout of it is very exaggerated, rounded, cute. This is the back of this tree. So I found a couple trees that I had that were more similar to this one. And there was that one and that one. And I think I'm going to use this one because it looks more like this one. I wish I had this one because I think I'm going to have to use this one. This one's just too little. I might have to trace this one to get that shaped tree. I have 43 or 44 different Christmas tree cookie cutters. I'll show you some. And I don't have that one. My husband tore through all my cookie cutters, and I didn't have that one. I've got a lot of vintage. So this shows you, now that might not have been done with a cookie cutter either. That shows you that there is a lot of cookie cutters. There's the same one that I used for my tree, my other ornament. And there's different versions of that one that are more round and sweeping like that. This one's a fun one, and I actually have some of those cut out too, the tilted trees. I thought they were a lot of fun, and I do plan on doing that. There's this one, which that might work for this too, because it's got a little bit more width, but I don't have anything that's as close to this one as I would have liked. I've got a lot of really old vintage trees, but nothing like that. This one's a fun one. It's more a realistic looking tree, and then here's one of the fake copper ones back from the really old vintage style. This one has like a star look on top. You might recognize a lot of these trees. These are all trees that cookie cutters that this is a bigger version of that other one. In fact, I have two of them, and even with the same cookie cutter, you can see one's wider and one's smaller. And it's the same style of cookie cutter, and these are pretty old. I have everything from really giant copper and just the ones you get at Walmart, the little Wilton. In fact, I have a couple of those, the same exact one. And this is a different version of it, an older version. You can see how old that piece is. It's never been used, but it still looks really ancient. This is one of the old Tupperware trees. So I just wanted to show you. This is a smaller version of the one that I've done before. And this is a giant version, kind of that one. So it's just, there are so many different tree cookie cutters. So you can find one that you love, that you want to use. Here's one that's, I think, supposed to be the packages under it, maybe. I don't know. But so many different trees. Here's another old, I don't think it's a Wilton though. But I mean, this is my entire collection of trees. I've got, like I said, I think it's 44 different trees. This one, I don't know if that's a tree or not. That's about the only thing I can think it might be. I have a couple tiny versions. And this is another little bitty right here. And then these, this is one of my favorite angels to make, and I've done an ornament like this. So when I saw this full kit, a full set as a backup, I bought it online from 1994, and I already have one like it in red, and my angel is also in red because I've bought two of these. So Anyway, so you can use any tree you want, but I think since I can't find one that really looks, I mean, this is my tree I love, but since I already did a tree like this, I don't want to do another, and I don't think this funky one suits a vintage tree. We'll do that on another video. So our two options are this one, and this one I think is too little. It really needs the width. I mean, the other thing I could do is trace this onto a piece of felt, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to show you how you can just make it with any cookie cutter. So since this is a little petite, I think we're going to do this one, which I stamped. And if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I simply take a stamp like this, a stamp pad, and I take the cookie cutter like this, and I ink it up, and I put it onto the felt, and I stamp it onto the felt and take the lid and kind of push down to get pressure to really get it on there, and then I cut it out, and I did both of those today. You can see the ink is still on there. So I always keep a few cutouts. So then this is a seed bead you can get today. Now I paid $1.24 on clearance. They run $5. But you can get these tubes at Hobby Lobby, and if you wait till they're half price, you can get them for, you know, obviously $2.50. And I think they've changed them slightly. I think this is a 12.0. I don't know. I'll have to get a newer version. But this, anyway, you can get these at Hobby Lobby. You can also get the smaller tubes at Hobby Lobby that are $3, and on half price, they're $1.50. Then for the bottom, you need bugle beads. And those you can get anywhere. I've got some vintage ones here, but also they have those at Hobby Lobby in every color. Now they use green bugle beads, so that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to attempt to recreate this piece as close as possible with what I already have. And since I don't have this cookie cutter, I can't recreate that. But I've got this one, which we'll use instead. So, and I do have a pin back, which I will get out when we're ready to do this part. But basically, we're going to stitch on the front. I've never done this before, so this is going to be an experiment to see how that works out, because I've never done it. I'm assuming you put that on after you've beaded the front. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to bead the whole front, then I'm going to add the garland, and then I like the little pearls they did on the end. And I have some little glass vintage pearls that are, I think, not quite as big as these. Oh, I see. They used bigger ones on the bottom. But you can do however you want to do it. I might see if I have those bigger ones and try that. I got stars, which you can buy stars lots of places. The gold are a little harder to get, but you can get them. And I'm using that silver seed bead because it merges with everything. And then as far as thread, you want to use a beading thread. Now this is an older one. I don't know if you can still buy these, but you're looking for a nylon bead thread. You don't want to use sewing thread because it breaks more easily. This stuff, you cannot break it with your hand. You'd cut your hand. I use a size D traditionally, and I've got several older packages. You can see the D on there. More traditionally, you're going to find them online in these little spools. And there's the D on there. And you just put in beading thread, and they come in all different colors. Here's a white one. Same thing. It doesn't, yeah, there's the D. And they run a couple bucks each. I mean, they've gone up in price. Now on Amazon, they have this one that's a little bit bigger than these. And you can get all different colors. And I think to get 36 spools, it's like $40. But they have 12 packs. And you can, I just wanted every color, which gave me duplicates of a few. But that was the only way to get them all. And when I got them, they were like 36. But now I think they're up to 40. But it's more thread than you, I mean, even I can't use it all for, I mean, a very long time. And then I have these spools in every color too. I have green, red, brown, pink, purple, different blues of these. And this one's actually almost 30 years old. And this is an O. This is the O, which is a little thinner. But you can buy these on Amazon as well, and probably eBay. About $25, $25 to $30 with shipping included. And this is one of these full, let me see, I can show you a full one, will literally last you your whole life. I've been using that one 30 years. I mean, they're huge. Absolutely huge. And again, they're Nemo. This is a different brand than this one because this is 30 years old. This says Beading Thread Company, where this one says Coats. But these are online, 3 ounce. This is a double O, but I do have it in a D as well. I like the double O for when I'm going through seed beads to do beaded earrings. You have to go back through the threads more than once, so you want a thinner thread. But I do have this in a D as well, a brand new one, in addition to my old one. And I have this, like I said, black, red, green, blues, pinks, tan, all different colors. But that's more, I'll never have to buy thread. I mean, I could live to be 200 and I'd never have to buy thread. I could make an ornament a day, never have to buy thread. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pick out the colors you want. Now, I wanted to recreate this as best I could. And if you look in it, there's blue, different blues. There's a couple different blues. There's a couple different pinks. Now, I didn't do the orange. That's the only color I did not put was orange. I can, but I just didn't. But I put red and green and blue. And so I've got all the colors down here on my beading mat. Now these beading mats, you can get these at the store. I think they're 3 for $3. And if you wait until they're on sale, you can get them less. I like the bigger ones, which you have to look online for. But these are good too. You can set them on the table, or you can put them on a cookie sheet or a tray. And another thing you can do is if you want to use different colored seed beads, you could use red for red and gold for gold and green for green, but I'm just doing the clear because I think it'll make it look the most like this. And they did use a green thread on the bottom, you can tell. So I got out a green thread for the bottom. But for everything else, they used a white thread. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you how we get started. And the first thing we're going to do is get a piece of thread. And I like to cut it fairly long because I don't like having to recut my thread. Now these are neat little nippers my son bought me, and they're just for nipping thread. They're Singer. I asked him for sewing scissors last year for Christmas, and he got me every kind of sewing scissors you could buy. Even though I'm not really a seamstress, I do sometimes cut fabric and just wanted to have a couple different sewing scissors. Now let me get this. These needles are very hard to thread, especially when you get older. Your eyes have a harder time. But you thread the, and I'll show you the needle too is different. But I just want to get back to my roots. I've missed creating. I never intended my channel to be solely for jewelry hauls. Now I'm not going to tell you I'm not doing any more, but what happened is I recorded 2 and they were awful. Okay, these are a bead needle. If you look at, they're very long and thin. And that's for stacking beads, like if you're doing or going through long, like if you make those fringed Native American type earrings, it gives you a long enough needle to go down through the fringes. You don't have to use this for this, but you need one with a small head. And unfortunately, most sewing needles, they have too big of an eye. It won't go through the seed beads. So the sewing, now sometimes you can get short ones, but they're hard to find. And I would like to find some, but I find I poke myself more because I'm used to using these. And then you're going to tie a knot because you don't want it to come right to the fabric on you. Now keep in mind, felt is extremely porous, and although they've improved felt over the years, when I was making these ornaments 30 years ago, felt was really, really porous and not very uniform. There were times where parts of it were thick and parts of it you could see through. And that might still be the case occasionally, but I've noticed the felt they sell at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and so on is a lot thicker and plusher and more uniform than the felt that I used to have to use years ago. Okay, and I tie a ridiculously big knot, and I'll show you what I do to kind of secure it. So I take the needle, and I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the bugle beads first. I think I'm going to, well, I was going to do them first. We're just going to start up at the top and move down. Now, so at the top, I'm going to leave a spot because I don't always like doing the star at first because the star sometimes gets in the way. Let me see. See, my problem is with doing the bugle beads last is I'm probably going to have to do a double bugle bead. These are not long enough. The other piece had a very short trunk. Now I can cut this trunk because I actually extended it. So like I can cut this trunk slightly, and that might be what I do so that I can fit just one row, because it actually was shorter, but I thought I needed it longer. So you just cut it a little short. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't really matter. Just cut it shorter. Whoops. Let me find the other half. Oh, here it is. Okay. And just cut it straight across like that, and it'll be a little shorter, more like this one. And then that way the bugle bead will fit. So that way I can start down here at the bottom. I'm just kind of taking you on this journey with me, because I'm just doing this on the fly, trying to figure out. Now see, what I do is I get that knot there. Then I'm going to go through, leave quite a bit of felt in between, if you look. And I'm going to go back through, because you want to hold this on. Then I'm going to come back out almost where it was before. And that way you're not going to come off. Your felt isn't, I mean, your thread's not going to come out, because I can't think of anything more disappointing than to have worked on a piece this nice as this and have your thread come loose. Now you can't see the back because they actually glued this together. Now normally I do a beaded edge, but I thought it'd be fun to show you a different way to do it, because not everybody liked doing the edge. That was the hang up for a lot of people, was that edge. And you don't need the edge. This is quite beautiful with just the little accents on the side, which would be hidden if you did an edge. So what we're going to do is just pick a color. So I'll just take one of these light pink, and I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So I want you to be able to follow exactly what I do. These are lightly cupped sequins, and if you look at it, it's whoop, it's cupped. That's why they're called cupped. It's got a very slight cup to it. Some are more cupped than others. But if you see that cup, it's slightly like this. But you want that cup facing down, because I want it up on the piece. So I'm going to go through that cup first, backwards, and that brings it upright. Then I'm going to take one seed bead and put that on top of that sequin and pull it all the way down. So see, the little cup is facing up. Now what you want to do at that point is go back down through the sequin, not the seed bead. Because if you watch, that seed bead is what holds on the sequin. See? So if you go back through the seed bead, then it's just gonna come right off. And then you come back up, and then we'll do, let's see what they do. They just went for it. Now see, this gold has a little bit more of a cup than the, I'll show you this gold one. It has quite a bit more cup than that last one. And again, we're going to pick up a silver, and again, we're going to come down as close as we can, and I like to kind of tuck them together. You don't have to. I don't want any felt showing. So I'm going to take this needle and kind of push it up under there, holding it with my thumb, and then go back through that sequin, holding it in place. And then let that little seed bead hold it on. See? And then we're going to come back up again. I'm going to do a few, and then I'm going to disappear, finish the body of the piece. Now what I usually do is I will go around the entire edge first. So I'm going to come across and go around the entire edge. When I'm done with the edge, I'll come back and show you. The reason I do that is because if you just fill in, which I used to do, you could get over here and either have not enough room or too much room, and you can't fill it in properly. Where if the whole edge is done, it's much easier to fill in the inside. So that's what I do. So let's see. They did a blue and a gold. There was really no rhyme or reason, so we'll do a green next. We're just kind of going to go through all these. And there's no pearls until I do the garland. The garland is totally the pearls. So let's see. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the needle and my finger and kind of shove it up as close as I can to the other one. And basically what will stop it is the string going through the middle of the other one. And then we're going to pull again and let that little seed bead catch it. And then we can do the fun part of this is when you have this many colors, it really gives you a variety. When I've done my trees, I've never done that many colors. Whoops, I've always had a green and just scattered the colors. Well, I like this better even if you do a green background, because you don't have to worry about making sure you don't have too many reds in one area or too many blues. I like this idea because you're going to have a less likely of getting too many of the same color in one space. So I'm going to go around the whole piece. Now this is a smaller gold star than I use now. I try to use these nice big faceted stars. And I'm going to have to buy more because this is all I could find, and I thought I had more than that. So let's get this silver one, and we'll get the bead. And one more time, we'll come up here. Oh, look at what I did. I put 2 on there. If you do that, all you do is do this. If you've got too many things on there, you just hold it, let it fall down, hold the thread so it doesn't come off the needle, and then fix it. Then get 1 sequin, because I had 2 on there. Okay, it doesn't want to come apart. Whoop. Well, let me find one that's single. There we go. Alright. Let's do it again. It wouldn't have hurt anything to use 2, but you know, it might make it, might be able to notice it. I just like to make it look right. Okay, and it's easier to manipulate 1 than 2. Okay, and again, I kind of push it toward an angle, and this is what the back looks like as you stitch. You can see your little line going across. See? We'll do a red, and then I'll take a break, and I'll come back after I do this red one. I'll come back when I'm done with the whole edge and show you what it looks like finished. Now if you want to make this so that you can move this around and do wherever you want to do it, you can put this on a cookie sheet or a tray, and then that way you can move this project wherever you want. And I will probably slide this onto a tray and sit in front of my computer, and listen to some YouTube while I work. And then I'm going to go one more here. I haven't done one of these bright blues. And see, and the thing is, you can pick the colors you like. Whatever colors you want, you can pick. And again, you're going to use your finger and the needle. And you want to stay straight across there. So when you go to put those bugle beads on, you've got a straight line across. So if that makes you nervous, just do the bugle beads first, which I will show you. As soon as I do this, I'll come back and show you. Then I'll finish filling it in, and then we'll do the bugle beads. Then I'm going to show you how to sew the pin back on the back, and then we'll glue it. Now, of course, it's not going to be glued and dried, but I can at least show you. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll wait a day or so, let it completely dry, and then show you again. I don't think it'll really matter, because I'm just showing you what that looks like finished. Like I said, this is a new project. I've never done one like this. So I'm going to keep going. Let me pick up one of these other green. I didn't use a light green yet. This is really fun having this variety. Most of these are vintage sequins. I'm lucky enough that I've collected enough vintage. But you don't have to use vintage. But I do prefer metallic. And what is metallic? Okay. Metallic sequins are just basically that. They have a metallic finish. They're shiny and they look like metal. They're not metal, they're all plastic. But they look like metallic. They look metallic when you look at them. They're shiny and just look like you're sewing a little metal sequin on. Those work the best for ornaments. Sequins come in all different finishes. Satin. They have opaque. They have a real shiny, glossy, opaque finish. Then they have iris finishes, which is like frosted. There's dozens of finishes for sequins. I like the metallic for ornaments. I think the metallic gives the best look. It's more reflective, and I believe, if not all of these, I believe all of these are metallic. So it just makes it look more like an ornament, because an ornament has it's glass, but it has a metallic finish on it. So I will be back when the whole outside is done, show you that. Then I'll cut away again and come back when I've finished the inside. Okay, I got the whole outside outlined. And one thing they did is when they put the star on, they put a pearl with a gold bead on top, because the gold is what they used for their garland. So I'll be back once I get the whole piece filled in. Then we'll do the bottom, and then we're going to figure out how to do the garland, because I don't know. I got to do some counting, figure out exactly how they did that, and then we'll give it a try. Of course, mine's going to be different because I have a smaller piece, so I'm going to have to adjust. So it'll be interesting, but we'll figure it out. And I'll be back when I'm done filling this in and show you it finished, and then I'll show you how to do that. So I'll be back for you in just a second, but for me it'll be about a half hour or so. Okay, this is the finished piece. Let me see if I can get the light right. So now I just got to do the bottom here. Now I was going to do a turquoise because I think this would look better, but my point is I'm trying to recreate this one as close as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and do the green, which I have right here. Now I've already gone through twice on the thread like I did on the front, so that I didn't have to make you wait. And then I'm just going to pick up one bugle bead like this, and I'm just going to kind of guesstimate where it goes. I'm just going to pull, because you know, you just kind of have to guess. You can actually put the bead on and then go, but I just guessed, and I've done this enough times I'm pretty good at it, but that doesn't mean I don't ever make a mistake. But if it makes you feel better, you can do it this way too, and that is you pull the whole piece across like that, and then you just go down at the end of the bead like that. Once you got the first one right, though, it's pretty easy to do the remaining ones. Okay, something is going on here. There we go. Okay, and I'm leaving a little edge, which is fine. Now on the back you'll see that I'm going to have some lines because I'm going from this end up to here. And you don't have to. If you don't want to waste thread, you could actually just go up and down. Like I can put this one in this way, and then I could go up through here like that, come up at the end, and then go down toward the top. If you don't want to waste your thread, you can do it that way as well. See? It really doesn't matter, whichever way you'd rather do it. I think it tends to lay better myself if you just do it this way. I don't know why, it just seems to lay better for me. And it does waste some thread, I understand that, but for me it's worth it because I think it looks better. And you just keep adding, and what you're going to do is, however you want to do it, you can do top to bottom, bottom to top, or the way I'm doing it, it really doesn't matter. And once you get them all on, I'm going to show you. See? It goes really fast. This is the easiest part of doing this entire ornament, is this part, because it's just a quick, and you don't have to worry about being perfect. I don't ever try to do anything perfect. I am sure if you looked over this ornament, you'd see plenty of colors that are next to each other and mistakes I made. And I know for at least one, I knew at least one time on here, I accidentally went over the edge of the sequin, like I always tell you not to do. But I knew I could cover it up with the next sequin, and that's exactly what I did. These things are very forgiving. You can make a lot of mistakes and cover it up on these ornaments. Oh, look what I did. Now see, there's a mistake I just made. I just went ahead and I put two on the same. So I'll pull one off. Unfortunately, since I had it all the way through, I did have to take the thread off the needle, which I don't like to do. Let me put it back on. Sometimes, especially this green, these little spools are a little bit thicker, it seems, than the, I don't know why, because they should be about the same. Okay, so here's the green, and I only got one more after this, and then we'll tie it off, and then I'm going to come get everything set up and come back and we'll do the garland. I'm going to do the first one because I'm going to have to figure it out. So I'll do the first one and then I'll show you how I did it. Oh. You got to make sure I still have that. Okay. Alright, see, I made sure. Okay, there's the bead. It fell off on me. When I dropped the needle, the bead was still in the needle. Okay, this is the last one. The last one's the hardest. You want to make sure you get plenty of felt, because you do not want to tear the felt. And then because it is so fragile right on the end right there, you can see it's very fragile. I'm going to go over here before I tie it off. Like this. Oops, I just got a knot. No, I didn't. Okay. I went gently. Now I'm not going to tug that hard. See how nice that looks? If I pull it too tight, it'll buckle it up. Just get it over there, and then you can go through a few times like this and tie it off. And I usually, no matter when I'm tying it off, either in the middle if I have to add thread, or at the end when I'm done, I go through a few times one direction. Oops, and it catches a lot. That's the only problem with doing this type of work, is it will catch. Then I'll go the other direction like this. But the key is, do not pull it tight when you do that, because if you do, it'll just pull that whole corner down and then it'll look terrible. And then just kind of tilt it so it doesn't grab that sequin there. After you've done it both directions a couple times. Now, I always say this, if you feel better tying it in a knot, you can. Also, you can always put a dot of glue if you feel better too. I've never ever had one come undone once I've gone through it a few times like that. And then you just cut it. And there, oh, you can cut it a little closer than that. Okay. And there's our finished tree. And here's the other one. Now I got to figure this out. So I'm going to do, and then these. These I'm going to do last. And it feels like a lot of glue on there. So I'm going to figure out how to do this, and I'll be right back. I'm going to do the first one, and then I'll come back and do the rest of them for you to show you how I did it. But I noticed that there's a lot of detail here that I got to figure out, because I've never done this before. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is kind of not fun because I'm doing somebody else's design. This would be a lot more fun if you do your own. Okay, I screwed up. I did. I accidentally put 2 pearls on here. I just can't figure out when I'm using the same amount, but when I look, these beads are bigger. My beads are way smaller. So I messed up because I didn't have as big a beads. So mine's not going to look the same. So next time I do this, I will have to use bigger beads. And can you see the difference? There's not as much room in between. So mine's not going to look the same, but I accidentally put 2 pearls, so I matched it, and I'm just going to do it on each one. Then you pull it into the middle, like this. And then once you pull it into the middle, you come back out. And like I said, this is not as fun because you're not doing your own design. And then I got to get one of these bigger pearls. And go back down. And the problem with this is I had to kind of do it twice, because the pearl didn't want to lay. It wanted to lay with the hole up. And this is not exactly perfect. But like I said, this is not my design. This is someone else's design, which is quite pretty. But when you're trying to do somebody else's design, it's a whole different thing than doing something you designed. So I went through the pearl twice to hold it on. And basically you're just going to go down after you put this in, come up, put the pearl on, go back down, come up, go through the pearl again and back down. And then I'm going to come up kind of behind the pearl like this, where I came up from the other side, and I'm going to reverse to over here. So I'm going to put 5 beads. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I got one big ugly, I don't know what's up with that bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one of these little pearls. Okay, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. And keep in mind, you're going to want to use a bigger seed bead. I was using these vintage ones, but they were even tinier. I couldn't even get the get them over the eye of the needle. See, for there's 5. Now here's where I messed up, so I got to put 2 of these little bitty pearls on. Those are connected, but they're not going to hang right. It sounds like a great idea to put 2 that are connected, but it won't work because they won't hang right. You want each pearl separate. So even though it's tempting to use 2 that are stuck together, oh geez, this is hard to do. Trying to find where, there we go. Okay, all right. I had a couple that were stuck together like this, but they wouldn't have hung right. So I just, okay, now I got to put 5 more beads and go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is me trying to do someone else's very pretty pattern. Now I'm going to come in the back of this branch. I'm going to go in between, I'm trying to go up behind the sequins, but you want to go in like that because you don't want to tear the felt, because it will tear. Oh, and see what I forgot? I forgot to put the pearl at the end. So I've got to take it off. Okay, I'm getting a little flustered because, you know, it's different when you're doing your own design, and I usually do my own design. But I saw this, when I saw it in the stuff Lisa sent me, I knew I had to make this, and trying to follow somebody else's pattern without a pattern is kind of challenging, but I'm doing it. It's maybe not as perfect as theirs. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to tuck it. Let me see if I can get it in frame. Behind these sequins, so it comes in far enough in that I'm not pulling the felt. See, it's not going to look as nice as the one I just, yeah, see, it's because the beads are bigger, or on the ones, see, it's just not going to hang right. See that? It's not hanging right at all. It doesn't look good at all. Very disappointing. But that's okay. This was a challenge to see if I could do it. So I'm going to run by you what I did, because I'm not going to show you the third one because I just want to get it done. So I can show you how to finish this thing. So I'll go back over it with you so you know what to do. And I'm just going around and around and around, and then once I get several loops one direction, then I go, and this is anytime I tie off on one of these, whether it be in the middle, changing thread, because sometimes you have to add thread in the middle, or at the very end. You got to be real careful when you catch that you pull it tight. Then I go the other direction. I go, yeah, make sure you can see that. Go the other direction, and you can do this 2 or 3 times each way. Like I said, if it makes you feel better to tie a knot, if it makes you feel better to put a drop of glue, go for it. But I'm going to run by you exactly what I did again. So basically, on these two, I came out on the end. I put all the pearls I needed. 1 pearl, 5 beads, a pearl, 5 beads. On this one I screwed up, so 2 pearls, 5 beads, 1 bead, 1 pearl, 5 beads. Then I went through the fabric, came back up through the fabric, put the pearl on, went back down through the fabric, came back up, went back to the pearl a second time, and went back down behind. When I came back up under the pearl, then I started adding this row. And I just did the same as this in reverse, 5 1, 5 2, 5 1, 5 1. Now you don't have to do the 2. That was just kind of a mistake. I guess it looks okay. It looks okay. Now I'm going to come up here and do the last one, and I'll come back because I got to recount because this one's going to be even smaller. So I'll come back with the finished one, and then I'll show you how we sew on the back and glue it together. So I'll be right back to show you that, and I'm going to try to do this little embellishment that they have right here as well. So I shall be right back with the rest of it finished. Okay, I decided to show you one more time because just in case I was out of frame for that last one. I'm going to come in behind these sequins like that. I got to go back through like I do every time. Oops, that wouldn't have caught the knot on it. Because we're going to do that so that we make sure that I don't come back to the fabric. Now, I'm going to come out right on the end here, and it's exactly the same as this one. So I'm going to do a pearl first. I'm going to do one of these pearls first, and then 5 of these beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So see, and because I messed up, we're going to do 2 of these pearls. I believe these are about a 3 millimeter, but I'll find out for you. Okay, and then we're going to put 5 more of these small, and these are way too small. So you definitely want to find a bigger seed bead, because that's what they did differently than me. And I probably have a bigger one that I just didn't use. Then 1 more pearl. Okay, like that. So I've got a pearl, 5 seed beads, 2 pearls, 5 seed beads. And I'm going to do 5 more seed beads. 2, 3, 4. Now on this one they took it all the way up under the star. So let's see if we have enough to do that. So we'll see if we can go right up under the star. We won't have to do a pearl on that one. See? We'll just go up under the star on that one. Come back. Now I will do a little bit of a tie off just to secure it. I'll loop around and pull it tight. And do one more. Not so tight that I pull it in really bad, but just enough that it secures it. Oh, got caught on the star. Alright, and now I got to go back out the way I came. See, back out from under the star. And I'll reverse that. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seed beads. These pearls, you almost have to pick them up and put them on because they roll away from you. These are just vintage ones, but you can buy these little inexpensive pearls pretty much at any craft store. Okay, and then we do 5 more seed beads like I did the other one. That's 3, 4, 5, and since I messed up, we're going to put 2 pearls on because I messed up the first one, and by the time I noticed it, it was too late. It would have been a big hassle to try to get that off. So I decided it just wasn't worth it. We just make it part of the design. And you know what? That's part of creating, is when you mess up, just figure out a way to fix it with being part of the design and just match it on the other side. 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to take that and come down to the point under here, like under here. See, we want to go to the point, and we're going to go in the back like that. I want it in a little bit more than that though, because I want it to catch far enough back that it's not going to pull out. There we go. Does this one have a pearl on the top? Oh dear. Yes. Okay, so I just have to undo the... Okay. This is real life, guys. Normally, if it's my design, I'm not going to mess up this bad. But I don't normally pick apart somebody else's design and redo it. But I just wanted the challenge of seeing if we could do it. And, you know, I messed up a little bit, but that's okay. It was a fun challenge. And I might do a couple more of these. But do the... what's it called, garland my way, which would probably be without pearls. I don't know if I'd do any pearls, but I just wanted to copy it. Okay, so let's do it again. I'm going to go back through here behind the sequins, way enough in, see, that I don't pull it out. Okay, hold on. Okay. And then I'm going to do my normal circles. Like this. See how I do that? And I never tie off. Once in a blue moon I might do a little tie off, but usually I just do these knots or these roundabouts, you know, going around and around and then back through the other direction a couple times. And then once it's all sewn together, I've never, ever, ever had any part of an ornament unravel. There we go. And then we're just going to snip that. These little snippers are fun. Okay. Now, we just kind of hang that down. Now let's see if we can do that little embellishment right there, which means we're just going to tie a knot on the thread we already have on our string, on our needle, because it's not going to take hardly any thread to do that. Let's just see if we can do it, because I think it kind of looks neat. Now imagine how fun this would be to use crystals, small little bicone or round crystals, instead of the pearls. I like more sparkly, so I think that would be even more fun. Okay. Alright. So, we're going to take a small pearl, and we're going to come up first. Okay, they have it right here underneath. So I'm going to do it right above. So I'm going to kind of come in there. Feels like I have a knot. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, hold on. There we go. The tail was too long. Because you want to always leave a nice long tail. But if it's too long, then it doesn't pull all the way through. And you got to make sure you always have the tail a little bit shorter than the string coming out. You don't want it to get, the double string to get caught. Okay, so I'm going to put a small pearl. And the bigger, which I believe these are a glass pearl. The little ones are not glass. I believe the big ones are. And then another little one. There, that's what they did. Let's see if I can center it there. Whoops. Okay, let's see. Problem is you got the sequins in the way and you're trying to tuck. Whoops, sorry. Okay. Kind of off center, see? Not really. See how it goes up? Which is fine. It's just a pain. You got to take it off the thread, needle off the thread. And look at, I messed up here. The thread's too loose. Look at that. I thought I pulled that plenty tight, so I'll have to fix that. So, I'm telling you, it's easy to make mistakes. But we'll fix it. It's not a hard fix. So I'm going to get the needle back on the thread. That's the hardest part. Once you've been pulling these needles through the beads, sometimes the eye will squish a little bit. Makes it harder to get it on the second time. Okay, so let's see. I got to try to get these to go across. So you're going to have to lay it so it goes straight, and then find out where you can go in that it'll be straight. It's hard because you've got sequins in the way. Hey, that's not too shabby. I don't think it's perfect, but that's okay. We're not trying for perfect. Alright, so let's just tie that one off. And do the same tie off. It's easier when you get on the back like that. Have a nice big flat surface. I just can't believe I didn't pull that one side tight enough. So let's see if we can fix it. I think I can without having to tear it all out. Alright, so let's see where I made the boo-boo. It's right here. Okay. I don't know if I can. Let's see if we can fix it. Like I said, I don't normally copy other people's patterns. I usually make my own up, and it's a lot easier. For one, I wouldn't have used pearls. I like pearls, but I'm not a huge fan of pearls. I prefer sparkly stuff. Anybody that knows me knows that. But I just wanted the challenge. Okay, so let's see if we can tighten this. Let's find this loose. Okay, over here. Alright, so let's see if we can tighten that down. I'm going to try my best. I didn't really knot this like I was supposed to. So let me do that. See, the tail's too long. There. Got to make sure the tail is shorter than, see, it's gotten tight from going through the head of those little tiny seed beads. It's sort of squished it. So let's see if I can even fix this. Let's go up to the pearl. We'll see what we can do. Might have to go all the way up through. hold on. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to go all the way through. When you're going through, you have to make sure you really are going through all the beads. Because if you skip a bead, then you're going to see the thread. Okay, see there's... What I'm going to try to do is when I go in, let's see, did I get all the beads? Yep. Whoa, it's getting even looser. Look at that. I didn't know how bad I had done that. What happened? I don't know. That one's bad. Now sometimes when you mess up that bad, you have to pull the whole thing out. But we're going to see if we can do it without pulling the whole thing out. So I'm going to try to pull this string, pull this tight. So pull it tight, like this. Okay. And then if there's any loose thread, I'll just pull it underneath the, I'll pull it up and underneath the sequins. It's frustrating sometimes when you work so hard on a piece and then you find that you did a big boo-boo like that. It can just really make you feel terrible. Okay, let me see if I can get that. Yeah, it's fighting me, but that's okay. That's fighting me, but I'm going to come back through, see if I can get through those beads one more time, and then fix the other side. Alright, so sometimes when you have to fix this stuff, it's kind of a pain. And sometimes you can get the needle through again, and sometimes you can't, but you got to make sure whatever beads the needle's through that you look on all sides. And make sure you didn't leave any beads. Okay. And where am I at? Gotta go through that one. These two pearls. Okay. And just pay attention to what you're doing. This is the tedious part. Is making sure anytime you're going through, if you're doing a beaded earring, anytime you're going through more than one bead in a row, make sure, see this, I'm trying to catch it in there, okay. Okay. It doesn't want to go through that pearl again. Okay, hold on. So I'm going to go through the seed beads. And then I'm going to go back to the pearl. And see there's still a little loop of thread there. See that right there? But what we're going to do is grab that, whoops, grab that little loop of thread that's hanging out, that's still excess, and just kind of pull it. See, I loop through it, kind of pull it over. Hold on, gotta be careful. This is when you can really poke yourself hard, is when you're messing with this stuff. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so see, I had this little loop of thread coming out. I just went through it and pulled it over to the side. Once we glue this together, you'll never see it. And we'll see if I fixed it. Hold on. Oh my gosh, it's such a pain how they catch. Let's see. In this case, I may, oh, come on. I may actually go through it like that and just pull it tight. Okay. And go through one more time. Try not to stab myself. That's the only problem with these needles, is you can. Okay, so sorry I made this longer, but it's never a bad thing when you see somebody make a mistake because, okay, see, it doesn't want to come. Okay, when this does this, get your pliers. Let me find them. You take your little pliers, your little jewelry pliers, and you pull that thread. And just make sure you get it pulled. There we go. Now we're going to cut it. And tails don't matter because they're going to get glued. So let's see if we fixed it. I think we did. Yeah, see, nothing like the original at all. Theirs hung down better because they used bigger beads. But you know what? When we get it glued all together, it'll still look nice. So I'm going to come right back, show you how to sew on the pin back, and then we'll glue this thing together. I'll be right back. Okay, now when you've stitched them together, you want to make sure that the ink is going the same way. Now, I did put the ink upright. And the reason I did the ink on the top is I knew that the sequins would cover it. And I didn't want ink showing on the back. So it'll go like this, okay, when we glue it together. So I'm going to sew the backing on here. Now you could do the same thing and do a loop and make it an ornament too. But since we're copying this one, we're going to do a pin going up and down. And so the way I sew these pin backs on, and what did I just do with it? Here it is. I'm using a silver one, and you want to put the pin so it points down or sideways. You don't want it the other way because you want the pin to go down. And the way I do them is I come in through the back, and I've not done my stitch, but with this I can kind of do it as I start to stitch it on. I just come around through the back and come up through here. And once I get a couple of those stitches on, it's not going anywhere. And I'm just going around. See the little hole here? I'm just going to go on one side. Careful when you're poking it through because you can really hurt yourself. Okay. Now it looks to me like they use sewing thread for this step, and you really could. If you wanted to use sewing thread for this step, you could. You could even glue this onto the back if you really wanted to. Now I get the first half done, then I make sure it's somewhat straight. Then I do the other. You can either go down or you can do, mine's not completely centered perfectly, but theirs really isn't either. So they kind of move as you stitch. It's okay though. No one's going to see the back of your brooch when you're wearing it. Okay, let's keep this pin back kind of up and out of the way. And you're just going to keep doing the same thing. You're going to go around and back through the hole. And just keep doing that till you feel comfortable. You can do as many stitches per hole as you want. I do about 3 or 4 on each side. Okay, and here we go again. If you can get this thing to stay up there, it's better. Okay, now you're going to have to kind of hold it down while you go into the second hole and do the same thing. It's really easy. You're just doing a basic whip stitch, you know, just going around and around each hole 3 times on each side. So, like that. It's pretty easy. And there we go. And then I'm going to come around, come back up through the hole, like that, and go the other direction, the other side. You can even hold it upside down if that'll help, but you're going to catch on that thing no matter what you do. It's just the nature of it. But I think usually three stitches on each side of each hole will be plenty to hold it tight. And you can always put a dot of glue before you stitch it as well. But I don't. And then the last hole, and I'm going to put 3 stitches on each side. Now I don't normally glue my pins or my ornaments. But I thought this might be something interesting to try, because we always do the stitching and not everybody likes to do that edge. In fact, as I've said before, there's been many people that do spectacular on the fronts, but it was quite a struggle for them to learn how to do the front. I had a friend in particular that really struggled with it, but once she got it, she got it. But when you don't enjoy it, when you're having trouble, let me get that through that hole. When you're having trouble doing that, it can take away the fun. So if you don't care if it has the fancy edge, then sometimes gluing it would be a better option for you. I don't think this takes away from it being beaded at all, having it glued. I don't think there's any difference at all. Then again, once you get it sewn, you're going to go in there, do the loop around again, like this. Now normally, on my normal ornaments, you'd stitch this together with beads. But we're not doing that today. This will be a first. And like I said, I just thought when Lisa sent me this cute tree, I said that would be a fun thing to try. Now the next one I do will be done more to my style. I'll figure it out, but I just wanted the challenge of doing somebody else's design without a pattern. I just had to wing it. And yeah, I messed up. It's okay though. It's fine. Okay, and there's your little pin back sewn on. Now I'm going to go get the glue, and then we're going to figure out how to do this. I'll be right back. Okay, I've decided I'd glue gun it because I think that'll work better. And I'm using the Gorilla Glue sticks. I think that was my last one, but I've got one left. And they're Gorilla Glue sticks. But since this is felt, we shouldn't have any problems with it sticking. But I'm going to start a little bit at a time and just work my way down. Just put a little bit of glue, just a little bit of glue up here, and then I'm going to press this on there like that. Then I'll lift this up, and there's all the stitching inside. You can see. And we're going to go and follow it around. That's why I thought I'd use a glue gun instead of regular glue, because I thought it might stick better. And you don't need a ton. You don't need a ton, just enough to make sure all the edges stick. And there we go. Finished. And of course, the only thing with glue guns, you've got the little strips of glue, but those will come off quite easily. And then once this dries and hardens, that should hold and look really nice. And I think just to keep that star nice, I'm going to put just a drop behind that star as well. Because the only problem I have with these stars, with all my ornaments, is they love to flip around. So I thought, maybe if I put a little bit of glue behind it, it'll kind of hold it in place. So there we go. And just when you're done, you can kind of trim up the, any areas you don't like you can gently trim underneath and to the side of there. Just neaten it up a little bit. You don't want to trim too close, but just trim it up a little bit. And maybe down, I'm going to trim a little bit down. Can't see what I'm doing. Just a little bit right on the side here. Just be careful when you're doing that you do not trim any of the threads, because you'd cry. Okay. Now this did not... Okay, I think the back is a little bit bigger, because every time when you cut out these pieces, it's quite often that one piece will be cut slightly bigger than the other. Again, be careful not to catch it, but any excess felt you see. You can just kind of trim it to match. And there you go. It's fairly hardened. And you just keep trimming till you don't see any of the excess felt. And there's, like I said, this could just as easily be made into an ornament. You just would, instead of sewing on a pin back, you would just, I'd glue it together first, come up underneath first, like I would take the thread out. I'd take the thread and then I would glue it down and then put your loop and come back through the back here and stitch it up. But there we go. So let me show you the two together. Here's the two together. I don't think I did too bad, considering I messed up a little bit and it was a completely different size. But there it is. Not perfect. I like the way theirs came out better here. I don't like how that looks. I might trim that just a tiny bit more. But I want to be real careful because you do not want to cut those threads at all. There. But anyway, so that's that little project. Of course, it's not going to be identical because these are older seed beads and sequins and pearls, and it was their design as well. So, but I think I'm happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed that. And basically, you can use any tree for this. The only thing you're going to have to do is, let me get you the measurements on this little guy here. Let me tell you how wide that tree is. Because if your tree is much wider or much narrower, then you're going to have to adjust your loops. This tree measures, what is that? Oh, I didn't put these on there. I don't think I'm going to. I mean, that wouldn't be that hard to do. You just kind of have to tuck in, and then you can add those little pearls. And actually, it feels like they're glued on. I don't think they are, though. I don't know. No. But I'm not going to put those. I don't really care for those. So I'm going to leave those off if that's okay with you. But if you were going to do that, you would just come up from the back before you stitch together. Come up through the, knot it, come up to the pearl, come up to the seed bead, go back through the pearl like you do on the sequin. Just go through the, back through the pearl but not back through the seed bead and knot it. And you basically have to hand knot each of these 6. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it looks cute on that, but I just don't, mine is not shaped the same. So anyway, so there you go. I bet you can do an even better one than mine. I've got some pretty talented people watching my videos. They blow my mind. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back again soon. I'm going to be doing a lot more creative. I'm in the process of getting ready to do a barrette for a friend of mine. She gave me boxes and boxes of seed beads. So I asked her what she wanted, and she wants a barrette. So I'm going to hand loom a barrette without a loom, and we're going to make that for her, and that's going to be one of my next ones. And I still haven't forgotten my parrot, and I've got a couple other ones I've got to do, plus some ones I've been planning on. Oh goodness. One ornament I've been working on, I've had cut out and ready to go for 2 years. So we'll be doing more of those too. So thanks so much, and I'll be back really soon. And I hope you got a laugh or two out of my mistakes, because I don't hide them. When I make a mistake, I show you I made a mistake, and then we try to fix it. So I figure it helps you to learn too when you see me mess up pretty good. So, and again, any felt that you can see showing through like that, you just get in there with your little scissors and trim it. See? And down here too. So that's all. Alright, well, I'll be back soon with another project for you, and I hope you enjoyed this. Not sure when I'll be back with a box of jewelry, probably in a week. I'm taking a little break, but I'm going to be getting another box this week, so perhaps I'll do that one. The last two I tried to record. One, I opened it on camera, and one I didn't. I just was out of frame and having a heck of a time. I decided I was done, so I'm not doing any for at least a week. So I'm not going to have you guys be frustrated, because if I'm frustrated when I'm editing it, I know you're going to be frustrated. So I walked away, and we'll try again this week when I get this box. So thanks again. I'll be back soon. Bye.